just show up. 3 words that were told to me by one of my mentors, and it stuck with me ever since. He said, just show up. And he would give example after example of extraordinary circumstances that people couldn't show up and what those people missed out on, and it could have changed their life. And then he would give examples of other extenuating circumstances and people actually showed up. And then their life got better by so much. So the bottom line is just show up. And I was struck by the messages and the actions of one individual in particular at the Grammy Awards. Now, no, before you get carried away, it wasn't Taylor Swift, even though we just had the Taylor Swift episode, but somebody else that usually when he speaks, people listen to very carefully.
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarrett Patton.
Welcome to episode 181 of License to Live. My name is Dr. Jarrett Patton, and I am your host for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, disengaged, disgruntled, dissatisfied, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe to License to Live. And while you're there, rate this episode, rate every episode, and tell me what you want to hear about so I make sure that I'm bringing you the most up-to-date information about career challenges and life changes. Yeah, and today some things really went on at the Grammys. And, well, people always make a big deal about the Grammys. And a lot of times they make a big deal about the awards. But before we start poo-pooing and saying, there's no big deal about awards, Firestarters, I want you to listen. Awards are something that can continue to build your own brand. And we've been talking about brand and how you represent yourself in the last few episodes. But let me tell you, if you can get a couple of awards under your belt, it makes a difference in not only the way you feel about yourself, but the way other people look at you as well. So, yeah, and in a little bit, I'll be talking about the Grammy Awards. And there's always been a history in the Grammys and maybe even a checkered history with Grammys and hip hop. But a lot of times, rap artists weren't even included in the Grammys. They didn't have categories. But this time, when Jay-Z went up to the podium to accept his Grammy, and I'll tell you what it was about. It wasn't about music this time. He had a lot to say, and so we'll get into that. But I want you guys to understand the importance of awards, because awards can change your image in the eyes of others. I mean, heck, if you won a Grammy Award, why wouldn't you say something about winning a Grammy Award? For instance, in my own personal life, I consider myself a health equity expert. I attended 2 different fellowships on the subject matter, learned lots of information, and that's impressive in and of its own. And yeah, maybe somebody will say, yeah, that's an expert. But when I tell people I won the Edgar Hayhow Award for Article of the Year from the American College of Healthcare Executives, maybe when I tell them I wrote the foreword of a book entitled Health Equity. And if you didn't catch Dr. Bonzo's episode, that was episode 180, you should go back and listen to that. He talks about how he developed his new book entitled Health Equity. By the way, I did write the foreword to that book. But you understand when I'm talking about being an expert and maybe an award-winning expert, that's something there. I'll give you another example. I've always stood by the fact that I'm a great pediatrician. And many of you pediatricians out there would say the same about yourselves, that you're a great pediatrician. But it's one thing if you say that, but it's another thing if maybe I get the Physician of the Year award like I did a couple years ago at Jackson State University. And I was given this award. It was a surprise, unbeknownst to me. But when I tell people that I won a Physician of the Year award, that means something different than being a great pediatrician. And as I look back at awards, I mean, I've won awards for one of my books, The Original License to Live, won best memoir from the Indie Authors Legacy Association. Can't imagine having an honor like that. Or outstanding speaker awards. All these things kind of fit into what you're doing. So take a look back at your entire resume, your entire body of work, and pull out those awards. They may come in the form of certificates, desk ornaments, trophies, and particularly for those who are in the trophy generation and growing up and everything you did by just showing up earned you a trophy. You may not value awards in the way that you need to because, at some level when you're in T-ball, everybody gets a trophy. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about these awards that make you unique in your space, what make you different in your space, and make you a more desirable person with all of your talents. So, Firestarters, take a couple minutes, go back, look through your awards, highlight them on your resumes, highlight them on your CVs, and even get used to talking about them because sometimes you forget when you have great achievements, but don't leave out the awards. Now, why did I get started talking about the awards in the first place and the Grammys? Well, let me tell you, there were lots of heads turned with what Jay-Z had to say from the stage as he was accepting a Grammy. And I will get into all the details about that right after we finish thanking our sponsors.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. EH3 coffee.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarrett's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarrett.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
Hey, this is Dr. Jarrett Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, License to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. License to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
Hey guys, this is Janae Noonan, and I'm here with Dr. Jarrett on License to Live. Hit the subscribe, follow the journey. Let's go.
Welcome back to License to Live. And hey, every single time I tell you guys, reach out. Affirmations can change your life. They certainly changed mine. I didn't understand them at first, but I started using them and changing them. And I even wrote that book about them so that you can take something else and add it to your arsenal of things that you can do to make your life better right now. And as you're working on that, hey, give me a call, set up an appointment with me at timewithdrjarrett.com, and we will set up that strategy session to make sure you are making some positive changes in your life. Yeah, now I stopped watching the Grammy Awards many, many years ago. It just doesn't necessarily interest me. It is a big pop culture phenomenon. There are always some big things that happen, whether it's on the red carpet or, maybe a host calls out somebody in the audience and gets into a slap fight. But for this year's Grammys, Jay-Z, yes, Jay-Z, that Jay-Z. We had the Jay-Z episode, so I'll put that in the show notes so you can go back and listen to my interview about from Jay-Z from several years ago. I'll make sure I put that in the show notes. But Jay-Z was actually nominated for and won the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award for all of the things he does. Now, this has nothing to do with music. It really has more to do with a humanitarian effort. And it was a great Grammy. Jay-Z spent some time up there, talking about when his daughter was little. He used to say he would have Grammys as sippy cups for his daughter, kind of as a one-off diss to the Grammy Academy, meaning that, this wasn't all that good of an award. But remember what I said about awards. And, well, no matter who you ask, they're going to say the Grammys are a big award. So Jay-Z gets up there and starts talking about all types of things, talking about, and he didn't mention her by name, but he's talking about his wife, Beyonce, and how she has won more Grammys than anyone ever, but never won Album of the Year. So he just kind of put that out there, and he was throwing shade at, lightweight, just saying, hey, this is how things are, but this is how we feel. And if somebody's won the most Grammys ever, how could they never have won Album of the Year? It just doesn't make sense. And that's all he was saying. But the most striking part of his acceptance speech really lies in what he was saying in the wrap-up. And I want you guys to listen to exactly what he said from the Grammy Recording Academy's YouTube page, and listen to what Jay-Z says.
We got to keep showing up. And forget the Grammys for a second, just in life. As my daughter sits and stares at me nervous as I am. Just in life, you got to keep showing up. Just keep showing up. Forget the Grammys. You got to keep showing up until they give you all those accolades you feel you deserve. Until they call you chairman. Until they call you a genius. Until they call you the greatest of all time. You feel me?
Keep showing up. Yes. That's how I started the show. With one of my mentors, he always said the phrase, just show up. And Jay-Z emphasized that point, and he said, keep showing up. And that's my message for you today, because a lot of you Firestarters have gone through some tough times. I got a few calls over the last couple of weeks with people in some very tough career situations. And a couple of them was able to help navigate and troubleshoot. Others are just in the beginning process and trying to figure things out. So knowing, and especially if those of you that I talk to personally are listening, know I'm still praying for you. I'm still looking out for you. And this too will pass. But you must keep showing up, especially when times get tough. because as you keep showing up, that means people see you and you have that longevity and they see you time and time and time again. If you just keep showing up, you may have some instant gratification that comes your way because, hey, something great happened right in that real moment. But there may be something else down the road that also bubbles up out of this. I know that all of these things going on, we have world unrest and wars breaking out in different regions of the world. The economy is still up and down. Taxes are high. Inflation is high. And it is easy to get down on something, especially when things aren't going your way. I know some of you guys are filling out job applications and you get rejection after rejection after rejection. You start scratching your head and saying, it did not used to be this difficult. But yes, despite that, I want you to keep showing up. Keep showing up. And what does keep showing up look like? Well, that means at some level you have to make a plan. Now, you don't have to spend a lot of time making a plan, but you should look at the plan. Look at kind of that short-term plan. Look at the long view of how your plan fits into the longer-term vision of what you're trying to accomplish. But making a plan is a part of that. Now, it by no means has to be a perfect plan. It by no means has to be anything that is ground shaking or novel. It just has to be a good enough plan for you to follow. And you've heard me say it once. You've heard me say it more than once. You're going to keep on hearing me say this. Even the most perfect plan may not have the most perfect outcome. So there's no reason to make a perfect plan. Make a plan that is workable. You can revise your plan as you go along. You can alter your plan. You can throw it out if it's not working. But start with a plan, because the most important thing is to take action. Yes, folks, in order to keep showing up, you have to take action. And I want you to take action, even if it's a little action, every single step, every single day. If you are taking even a baby step forward, that is moving you in the right direction. And sometimes people don't know where to turn. They don't know which direction they're going. And everything starts to unravel and they start to panic. And they're doing all of these things because the sky is falling. And when the sky is falling, it's sometimes hard to think about things logically or even rationally. This is why you have a plan. This is why you take action. And this is why the action moves you forward. So keep showing up. And finally, as you keep showing up, and if you're showing up to work every day, if you're showing up for your family and loved ones every day, if you're just showing up for yourself every day, make sure you continue to do that. But then take a little peek back. Take a little peek back like Jay-Z when he said he used to use Grammys as sippy cups for his kids because they had no other value. Take a look back to those days and see how far you come, because sometimes, we're so busy on pushing forward, we have no idea how far we've traveled. And when you look back and see that long road behind you, even though there may be a long road ahead of you, you are still in position to succeed. You are still in position to achieve. You are still in position to make a great life for yourself and others if you keep showing up. Remember, Firestarters, if you or anyone you know has been disengaged, dissatisfied, disgruntled, disenfranchised, please invite them to join us along this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and subscribe to License to Live. And while you're there, make sure you are rating this episode and give me feedback so that I keep bringing you the most up-to-date information about career challenges and life changes. And in between episodes, I hang out on LinkedIn. In fact, one of my recent posts had me singing. Well, not about Taylor Swift, but I was singing Tina Turner. But I was talking about Taylor Swift. But anyway, you had to go back to LinkedIn and find it. But you can find me on all social media at Dr. Jarrett. Spell out the word Dr. J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. And keep showing up. And we will see you next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarrett's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.